All right, we are live. It is 5:02 out here on the West Coast, which means it's 8 o'clock out where most of you guys probably are. My name is Matt Lasker, joined by co-host Fecil Blango. How's it going, Fecil?
What's going on, Coach? How you doing, man?
Yeah, chilling. Can't complain. Another Monday. You know, it's a great thing. Start the week off. It's kind of like, I got to get back into it with work, but at the same time, fresh start. Let's get this cracking because I know I'm loving how these are coming up every Monday now, and I can just plan on being on here with everybody. So excited to rock. Last week went well for you?
Oh, can't complain. So had a little time to kind of hang out this weekend and just relax. But in the Carolinas, they have this little hurricane coming through, so we're just kind of getting prepared for that.
Yeah. Jason Ross, the guy that's usually on with us, he's out there and. Where is he? He's somewhere out there near you. He said the same thing. He said, I'm going to try to be on, but literally it's supposed to hit like right now, wherever he is.
Oh yeah.
In the world. So
it's insanely cold right now, which is funny because like it's been 95 to 100 degrees for like the last couple of weeks. And it's like 68, 70 degrees. So I know it's something's about to be here. It's about to hit.
Yeah. So, right on.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, everyone out there, thanks for joining us. I see a bunch of people already on. Already talking. What's up, Coach Manny? Good to see you. Coach Jolly, what's going on? So we're going to take this first like 10 minutes or so just to catch up with everybody. If you guys want to call in, now is the time to do that because we are going to have a live Q&A later where we want you to call in. But we're just going to kind of go around. If you guys have anything you want to say about what's going on in your neck of the woods, we'd love to hear it. We won't probably be harping on COVID too much unless you guys want to call in and talk about it. But me and Fecil, I think we'll leave that to the audience, and if you guys want to get into that. But like I said, Coach Fecil is going to do his stick breakdown today of how he runs stick. We're waiting for Coach Knutson. He's coming out of practice, and he'll be joining us after Coach Fecil to break down the top 3 Flexbone runs that he has. I've asked him. He runs it all Flexbone out of the spread, which for me is perfect because we're always looking for new ways to run something different. I know a lot of you guys haven't chosen your 3 run plays yet, so I wanted to bring in some different run game speakers. This week will be Flexbone. I think I got someone for wing T next week. We just want to keep the education going. So we'll kind of go through it that way. After each clinic, we'll have a live Q&A. So please be ready to dial in if you have any live questions to speak on the air. We'd love to take those on the air. It adds a little bit more flavor to the show. But of course, you can go ahead and ask it in the comments below. If not, while we're talking about that, before we get too deep into it, please go check out Coach Fecil's Game Ready Football on YouTube. Subscribe to that, and if you haven't subscribed to mine, please do. That is how we kind of spread the word organically with these channels, getting the word out to more coaches. So feel free to call in right now, guys, and we'll just kind of talk a little bit as everyone gets settled coming in. Hey, wanted to catch up with you, Coach Fecil. How'd you like Last Chance U? I know we were talking about that last week a little bit before it dropped. Did you watch it?
Oh yeah, no, I'm already done with it. I binge watched the show, man. So you know what? This one was a little different because it talked more about the city. And more about Oakland, and you're out that way, right? So I think that kind of resonated with you, and you got a good story, and you're gonna have to tell it here in a second. But because I know you posted something on my Facebook, which was actually kind of interesting. But no, I actually loved it, man. It just gave me an opportunity just to look at some more football. It could not hit at a better time. So I think that it was just good timing all around, man, and just kind of seeing those guys and now I'm, kind of getting on Google, kind of seeing where those kids are now and how they're doing with COVID and all this other stuff. So, it's been good to kind of follow them and just kind of watch their journey along this way. It's been cool. It's been good. It was just great just to kind of see somebody else like the West Coast, how they do things and how that JUCO works out there. I actually had a kid of mine that he used to play for me. He played quarterback at San Mateo, who they ended up playing a few years back at the JUCO. So it was actually kind of cool just kind of seeing some of the schools they played at and played against. So it It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And I didn't realize Oakland was changing as much as it was and is now. And it's looking like it's just pushing a lot of folks out of the city, man. So I'll be interested to see what it looks like, 5-10 years from now.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I mean, I was born in 78 in San Francisco, California.
Okay.
Grew up in the city till I was 11. Then we moved out to the East Bay, about 20 minutes past Oakland. So I'm about 20 minutes away from Oakland now. But it's all Bay Area. People from here just love the Bay in general. Of course, from the city, you say I'm from the city. If you're from the town, you see it from the town. But in general, there's a lot of love out here for the Bay. Laney College, as you were mentioning, I was telling you a funny story. So we play passing league 20 years ago in high school, 7-on-7, basically what it is. Right. But back in the day, we used to call it passing league for whatever reason. Off season, we'd go meet up at these colleges, and there'd be 30 teams go there, and you just scrimmage each other and just go in circles and go through. So we go to Laney College. What's up, Coach Ross? We go to Laney College. It is before my senior year, so just going in the summer before senior year. Yep. I'm driving, think I'm dope. I got my 5-star wheels. I got my 15s. I got my custom 15s in the trunk. Just your rear view mirror is just. Oh yeah. You can't even see in your rear view mirror anymore. And so the guys that did that for me was a friend of my brother's, the shop, and they wanted to put their sticker Precision Auto on the front windshield, which my plan was to get rid of that as soon as possible. But they hooked me up. They did it for basically nothing. Put all that stuff in there, so I let them put it on there. So you're not even thinking about it, man. I mean, we're going to a passing league tournament. I'm in high school, whatever. Roll up to Laney, park on the street. I mean, literally. If this is the street that I'm looking at right now, the field is, I can look to the right and see the fence and then the field that we're playing on. So I'm like, I wasn't even thinking about it, whatever. So we come out and we all, like all the kids, we all roll up and park in a row right on the street, right? And I'm just in the middle of the line. And and we come out after the game, we're like, have a good game, whatever, have a good day. And I'm like, look down, I walk up to where the car is, and there's a space between all these cars, right where my car. I'm like, I could have swore I parked right here. And then like 2 minutes later, it dawned on me. I'm like, they got me. Them fools jacked my car in the middle of a passing league tournament, in the middle of dang Oakland. And, like Laney, as you can see in those videos, it's right by Lake Merritt. And that's kind of a nicer part of town. You walk around the lake and like, there's not as much crime. I mean, back in the 90s, right? It's a different Oakland, as you can see. A lot of gentrification has turned on and created a little safer environment down there. But there's pros and cons of that we probably don't need to get into that whole political thing. But anyway, it's just a funny story. Like, that's my claim to fame with Laney. I mean, I've been to Oakland a million times. I've worked in Oakland for years in my previous job. So I don't know, just a crazy Laney thing. But the cool thing is that a lot of those kids, especially that Samoan lineman, they were showing his youth team. They kept saying James Logan. That's actually, that team's in our league. And a lot of those videos you guys see, that team in red and black, that we were just lighting their ass up 3 times a year. That was James Logan. That's a lot of our best highlights are against them. So anyway, that's my Laney story. What's up, Coach Ross? You guys button down the hatches or what, man? Hey, bro, you're on mute somehow. Anyway, so yeah, I loved Last Chance U. I honestly, I took it a little personal because I was like, I the whole time I'm like, the football is just, it's like the Mississippi teams, EMCC and those other Indy teams, like those players are just like monsters, and they're clearly like ex-Florida State players, ex-Alabama players. Right. They look like it, right? Like those dudes are like, they look like the prototypical athletes. And then they come out to Oakland. It's just like dudes just out of high school that they just found around town. I mean, don't get me wrong. They're better than that. But compared to that, I was like, oh, I hope people don't like hate this season because the football's. But I think everyone is attaching to the town and the coach, right? Like Coach Bean seems like a pretty cool guy.
Oh yeah, he does, man. Like I said, it's definitely different from the other ones. Like you said, everybody's got the D1 rejects and all these guys that was just, going to be there for a year and then they're going somewhere else anyway. But those guys, I think he said 75% or 80% of their team was actually just from the area. So,
right.
No
scholarships.
That was pretty dope, man. I actually like that. I like that. Yeah. So, I think, we need to talk about this at some point, but I thought it was crazy. They went through 4 quarterbacks. Everyone got hurt. And now they're trying to get a receiver now.
That was how crazy, often does that happen?
So, that was interesting, man. Yeah.
That was crazy how they went through all that. And that's the last thing I'll say on it. It was you don't really think about that. So out in Mississippi, where they can create this huge space, this huge land. What's up, Coach Jolly? They can create all this space and new facilities and all these things, and the kids can live on campus under scholarship. You start thinking about the Bay, which is they don't have all that space. And even if you got an apartment with your friends, you still be paying $4,000 split between these college students that aren't working, right? So that's a whole nother factor that I didn't even think about, the difference between JUCOs out here and out there. So anyway, I just thought I'm glad people are enjoying it, because I got a kick out of it, and I just love, the Bay representing like they did. But the football, it was fun football. At least, it was fun to watch at least. Coach Jolly, how you doing, man? What's going on out there in Florida?
Good, man. We're still here. They're still letting us practice. We'll see if we have a season or not, man. They keep pushing us out. They pushed us, but we got another really in-depth packet. It was 30 pages of return to play guidelines. So it's dude, there's a lot of thought and intelligence and effort put in by the FHSAA to try and make this happen. So I'm hoping that they'll let us have something at some point. I don't mind, and it's a really in-depth guidelines and things that we have to do, but they're all doable in my opinion. But I was wondering if any of you guys have seen anything like that from your states. It's it came straight from the FHSAA, and it was 30 pages of stuff.
No, I haven't seen anything like that. You got anything like that? Outlining stuff, Fecil?
No, nothing yet. I think we're still in the holding pattern, and I think there's still, to be honest with you, everything is going to get pushed to the spring. They're just trying to figure out. I think they're trying to outline some of this stuff, and to be truthful, I think what they're really trying to do is kind of see how other organizations and states are doing it before they really start, populating any, information that they're going to send out to everyone. So we're still in the standstill. But I was talking to a couple of my other friend coaches who I coach Pop Warner with. They're going to continue to have a season. In fact, we just had a Zoom call about an hour ago just to kind of talk about what that's going to look like, going forward. So I'll get something that looks like football, for the next few weeks, and then they're going to have a shorter season, but they're still going to play football just locally with some of the Pop Warner teams that's going to be around here. So I'll have we have tiny mites, so we'll have 7 and 9 year olds. So it's basically a 9U team.
Nice, cool.
Yeah,
that's something.
I'll take it, man.
Mackie had some guys on earlier in the week, and one of them was Coach Schiffman, and he coaches up in, I forget where, a small Division III college, and he said that they're going to have a 5-game season in the spring. And the way he was talking about it, I was like, that might be the way to go for everybody, where it's you have a 5-game season in the spring, and then that can be your glorified spring football, and then everyone goes away, and then you come back summer ready to go for real again. I think that might be a way to get some football this year, rather than just, because I can't, I was thinking about you guys, I can imagine California and other places that have just outright canceled it for the whole year.
Yeah, they literally, so the CDC and the governing bodies didn't cancel it for the whole year. They pushed it, but my league voted. So we're going to be independent and come winter and just get it in. Whatever 5 teams we can find, whatever 3 teams we can find, we're going to do something. But yeah, Jason. Oh, good. Jason's mic's working. What's up, man? Went out again, dude. What are you doing? Jesus, bro.
Hey, while he fixes it, I had a question before you guys get started.
Yeah.
Matt, do you remember what amp you had in that car?
Oh, bro, Kenwood. What are you talking about, man?
All right, just making sure.
And my deck was a Kenwood. The ones that, you could detach the face like you were.
Oh yeah, man.
Oh yeah, bro. Dude, I was rolling. It's all like digital LED, like man.
Oh, you big time, man.
Oh man, I was rolling. My 5-star rims, dude. It was badass. My 89.
That's hilarious, man. That concept was the same thing happening in South Florida at the same time and all the way over the other side of the country. I mean, I always, you always think of like the different East Coast, West Coast type of stuff, but that's hilarious that you had to say. I was like, wow, man, that sounds like.
Yeah, that's home, baby. I mean, that documentary, I was getting all the feels. So I'm like, man, I just love to see the Bay represent. Hey, Adam, Coach Adam, where are you guys? I forgot where you guys live. Where you guys just got canceled. Cool. Jason still? Yeah, Jason's still out. Man, it must be the hurricane, dude.
We're reading lips, man.
Yeah, Coach Manny, I agree. I mean, anything would be better. Anything's better than nothing. Anything's better than nothing, honestly. All right, cool. Yeah, well, you know what? Unless anyone has anything else to talk about, I mean, I wanted to talk a little bit about Mike Tyson. Did you hear?
I saw your shirt, dude. What's up with that, man?
I don't know. I'm like, some people collect shoes, some people collect hats. I just collect random T-shirts that someone puts in front of me online. And I'm like, oh, I just got that Deion Sanders one too. I'll show you guys that next time.
Well, you mentioned it, so I'm gonna ask. I was gonna ask you if you could show the shirt, but since I was like,
yeah.
Not.
Heck yeah.
Since we're talking about it, I want to see it.
So my two favorite boxers, Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. I'm a little too young for Muhammad. Now, trust me, I got respect for Muhammad Ali. I'm a boxing fan. I don't even like F with MMA at all because I'm too like stuck on boxing to give into MMA. But like, I love boxing. I love Muhammad. But Tyson coming up in the early 90s, mid 90s, when I was like 11, 12, 13. Yep. Dude was the scariest man on the planet to me. And I like, oh my God, dude, when he would get in the ring and just stare these fools down before the fight, when they'd come together at the middle of the ring, that shit used to just like, get me so hyped.
Did you ever see the thing where he wrote a poem about that pregame thing ritual that he went through? Did you ever see that?
No, I wish I did.
I want to find it and post it on your Facebook group because he's talking about. He's like, oh, I've been having nightmares about this guy for 6 months, and now it's coming. He says, and I'm not showing any fear, and I'm lacing up. I'm putting the tape on real tight. I'm thinking about punching through the glove and my bones piercing the glove. And he's like, says all this stuff. He's like, and I just stare him down with no hesitation. And he looks for just a half a second, and I know I've got him because I found the chink in his arm. He's just, I was like, dude, I'm afraid now watching this.
He is staring.
Have you seen him work out lately?
Yes.
Oh yeah. That's
he still looks good. Like, I mean, he's 50 plus and he's still, I would not get in the ring for him for 3 minutes.
Nope.
You couldn't pay me enough right now because he's still swinging hard.
Yep,
bro. He would just light your. He would. Oh my God. So Roy Jones, like after Tyson went down, like Roy Jones was the next like great one to me. Like Pernell Whitaker, he was okay. I like fucking all the new guys, but Roy Jones, that fool played in a CBA basketball game, basically what the D League is now, in the morning, and called his shot. He used to say like, "Oh, I'm going to knock this fool out in the 3rd round. I'm going to knock this dude out in the 4th round." He played a basketball game in the morning, semi-pro, but whatever, and then went and defended his title at night and knocked this dude out at the round that he said he was going to do it. I mean, just act like that dude. He could probably have played football. He probably could have played hoops.
Oh yeah.
He probably could have done a lot of different things. He just was a pure athlete, and I think that's why boxing's kind of gone down. It's like these athletes aren't choosing boxing anymore, right? Like they're like, I'm gonna go ahead and just play football or whatever, right? It's like boxing, it's not the best idea, but I miss it, man. I don't know if it'll ever come back with MMA dominating like it does, but I miss boxing, man. That was it.
Yeah, well, that fight's in September, right?
Yeah, it's coming up. Like both of them, look like they're in pretty damn good shape.
And I heard they're going to make some good money off of this too, man. Like I'm hearing like 15 to 20 mil.
I'll pay for it. Shit, man. Those are my two favorite.
I'm paying, man. Oh,
yeah, Manny, when he would come out there with no socks, towel, and just looking that dude, like staring into his soul, like I'm about to snatch your whole being out of you right now in like 3 seconds. Oh, God. All right. Without further ado, let's get to it, man. Coach Fecil. Only because I think we just need all the bandwidth possible because he's going to share his screen. But definitely call back in if you have any questions about his.
I'm looking forward to it, man.
Okay, cool. Thanks, bud. All right, Coach. So Coach Fecil, obviously everyone knows him by now, but he's going to go ahead and go through his stick, how he runs stick. I'm excited about it because it's a little different than how I do it. And probably then a little different than how all y'all do it. So yeah, I'm going to kick back with you guys, watch what Coach has to say, and then we'll talk about it. And obviously, put your comments and questions in the chat if you have them. We'll probably try to let Coach Fecil go through unless there's a natural break and it's a question about something specific. We'll probably try to hold most of them toward the end. After he's done, we could read them out loud. But yeah, so put your questions in the chat or just call in afterward. But go ahead, Coach Fecil, take it away, bud.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. Okay, got it. All right, let me know if that worked.
Yep, you're up.
All right, cool. All right, so Stick's one of my favorite quick games to run. For me, it's been pretty easy to teach, and then also on top of that, I've had a couple of opportunities where we've had quarterbacks that didn't have great arms that could complete this pass, make good decisions, and all in all, it's just been a huge play for us. So one of the things I wanted to talk about first is just kind of how I like to run it. I like to run it out of 3x1. I also run it out of 2x2, and then also I'll have two backs in the backfield just to kind of help with the protection. So, Coach, I'm going to be on huddle. So if you hear any questions or see any questions, just shout those out because I'm not going to be able to see them. But as I'm going through this, we can walk and talk through it. So
yeah, I'll monitor that, and I'll cut you off if it's a good one that kind of goes in the flow.
Okay. All right, cool. So, hey, you know what? Honestly, one of the first things I wanted to talk about and just kind of see what kind of defenses do people usually see? Because I feel like at the youth level, it's a lot of people get a 5-man front, some get a 4-man front. I see a lot of teams, especially at the middle school level, where in my league we'll have a lot of 4-man fronts and 5s, but how they play their coverage, we either have single high safety or 2 high. Most of the time, I get 2 high, but I've also seen it where we'll have 1 high, everybody mans underneath. So I'm actually just kind of curious as to how folks play it for the most part. So I'm actually kind of curious if it's, regionally, do, people just play a certain defense or just depends on the coach too as well. So,
yeah, put in your location and the most common defenses you see, as many as you want. I'd love to hear the flavor, but that's a great question. So yeah. David Hunter is where? I'm blanking on people's location. I should know David's location. But here we go. We got some coming in, but I'll put them up on the screen. So David Hunter, 44425. Geez, what the hell? Coach Manny, he's down in SoCal. I know that. We talked about that last week. He gets a 5-3 and then a mixture of 4-man fronts. He sees a 4-2-5 down there too in the valley, huh? You guys are running that in the valley, Coach Manny?
Oh yeah, 4-2-5 has been pretty popular, especially within the last few years. So I'm not surprised.
Adams out there in Michigan, he sees a 5-3 or 4-4. That's pretty much like us. Coach Jason only saw 5-3-5. Ooh. Yeah, that's right. North Carolina. My bad, man. And Coach David is in Tennessee. That's right. I'm sorry, guys. It's a Monday, end of my Monday. I feel like on Tuesdays when you get those kids when they get back to school for the first time and they come to that practice.
Oh yeah.
That first day of school that their brain is just fried. That's how I feel right now for some reason. All right, Baton Rouge, lots of 4-3, 2 high safeties on 3rd and 4th grade. Dang, Coach Kevin. Man,
wow.
I really want to play these.
Okay, so as those coming in, I'll show what this is kind of like a hybrid 4-2-5. So I'll start with that. So basically, for the stick play, my biggest thing is just getting the Y into open grass and just allowing for him to read the play. So I will start with the outside receivers. What we'll do here, we'll have them outside automatic release on the fly. All right. And that honestly is going to be our first read. So I always tell my quarterback just to go ahead and peek that. We want to go ahead and throw that outside receiver if he's open and we feel like we have the matchup. I don't mind him taking that for most instances outside of, maybe it being 4th and, 4 or 5, and we're just trying to pick up a first down. But most of the time, I'm going to give my quarterback the freedom. If you see that and you feel like we have the matchup, especially the corners walking up a little bit and we can take a shot over top, let's go ahead and do that. If for no other reason we don't complete it, then at least it's going to open up the safety. Safety's going to maybe try to come over and help, or that corner, they'll start backing off, which will give us the opportunity to start doing some other things underneath. So next, so we'll talk about the outside release with the receiver.
Coach,
on the back.
Coach,
yes, sir.
How often do you see them taking that shot? I mean, is it something where they really feel like if they see it, they're going to shoot it, or would you say that's not typical, or how often do you actually use that, do you think? Or
yeah. So the one thing I'm always preaching to my kids is just making sure that we're looking at the concept side. So I would say at least 30% of the time we're going to throw that on the outside. Nice. And then I also have a tag for a post which comes open later in the game. We'll talk about that here in a minute too, where it's that right there has been the biggest one, especially if we hit the stick a few times. Then we'll start hitting this post behind this safety, which has been huge for us. And that works in either the 2 high or the 1 high safety look. So the backside progression always going to be a slant for us. And then if the corner's off, I'll allow for my left receiver to just go ahead and run a hitch, or even what we call a Richards, which is just a now route, just turn. If the corner's off, we want to take that. Like, I don't mind him looking there, especially if we feel like, the linebacker is kind of overplaying the 3-by-1, especially if we have the tailback over here, as you can see here, then we can throw that backside slant. So stick, this is the one of the bigger differences on how I run stick and how I've had some conversations with some other air raid coaches. So basically, I have my Y reading the leverage of this linebacker. So sometimes we'll see this linebacker, he'll either play over top of this Y, or a lot of the folks that, or a lot of teams that we see now, they're playing inside leverage, trying to take away this inside route. So what I like to do, and what we've been teaching our Ys to do, is to get behind this linebacker and settle up behind the linebacker on his inside leg. And with that being said, what typically happens is the linebacker's always looking inside at the quarterback and the tailback and looking in the backfield to see what's going on. He always gets lost because he runs by his face, he sits in, and what we're doing here, we're going to have our F run right at the line of scrimmage and run it out here. Let me go ahead and back that up. And run it out right here. So now we putting this linebacker into conflict. All right. So now don't get me wrong, if he's lined up head over top of the Y, we want him to come stick inside. And I know a lot of air raid coaches, regardless of what's going on, they want you to go across that linebacker's face. For me, I have found that has been pretty good for us to get behind this linebacker and sit in open grass. And what happens is his linebacker always chases that out because he's not paying attention to this Y, because his eyes are always inside to the backfield, especially at this age, at middle school level. They're not really looking at what's happening with the number 2. They're just looking at what's in front of them and what's happening in the backfield. So that's helped for us to get a couple more yards out of that. It's a good hole shot. We catch it and get it upfield. And honestly, if you think about it too, if I'm sitting inside the linebacker's leg right here, if he doesn't move throughout that play, then the out's going to be there. But most linebackers are going to move at the snap. And if he knows he's got to get to that flat, he's going to naturally start fading out there off of the rip, and then now our Y is just going to sit in open grass and take that. But really, we just want to read the leverage of that linebacker, which is going to be our biggest key. So ideally for me, like I mentioned, I just rather him sit behind the linebackers, gives us a couple more yards. Usually it's like at a 7-ish yards, and we want to sit in open grass, show hands, catch it, and get upfield. And I have a couple of cut-ups where we'll talk about that too as well, where, we work on drilling this every day. Like I'll just have these two receivers here and we'll run stick. He'll run, settle up, F runs out. And now the quarterback, he's reading the linebacker. And really, he's just reading the hips. If the hips are pointed towards him, he's going to throw that out. If his hips turns and starts chasing that F, he's going to throw that inside. And that's been one of the bigger things, coaches, is really teaching the kids to understand hip angles and understand where they're turning at and where they're trying to go. And we wanted to throw opposite of that. And it's a hard concept. It even took me, even when I was playing football, even in high school and going into college, it still took me some time to kind of understand that. So, I could understood exactly where to throw that ball, how to throw it, and throw it in spots where necessarily a linebacker may look like he's covering him, but he's really not, because his hips are turned towards you. It is almost impossible for him to open up his hips, turn and run, and catch this F receiver if he's running that out. So that's
a huge point, bro. Like, honestly, we do teach that with the corners, because especially when we run wide corner, we teach them to peek at the hip angle of that cornerback to the concept side. I've never thought about doing that with the linebackers, but that is, like, honestly, and this has been my biggest plight this whole offseason, trying to figure out how to make the quarterbacks understand what that specific linebacker that you're talking about right now, like, how to make sure the quarterback, as soon as possible, can identify which one he should throw to between those two guys.
Exactly.
And I love that, because, I mean, it's true. If he could be standing over there where the Y is, and it looks like he could be blocking the F, but if his hips are pointed inside, he's done. He can't get there. I love that. Sorry.
There's no way. No, Coach, that's perfect. That's a great point. So that's the biggest key for our quarterback. And literally, he is taking the ball. And a lot of people, they'll do either it's a catch and throw. For my quarterback, the better rhythm for him, either he just takes it and take one big step, drop back, and then he's looking to throw. So it's still part of our quick game series. And really, he's just reading the concept side. So, and one of the things that we found that have worked very well too. I'll move this tailback over here. Sometimes we'll shoot him out, depending on how well we're protecting up front. The other thing is too, sometimes I'll keep him in and have a 6-man protection just to make sure we have a clean box for that read for our quarterback. So he's just standing tall, making a good throw and being done with it.
Yeah.
So this is our base. I like to run stick kind of starting out. All of our 7-on-7 games, they already know we're going to run stick the first play, because it's going to tell you a lot about how the linebackers are playing, who's playing off, who's playing up, and it's just a lot of just good bang for your buck. And we can still, like, even if we have a concept that's running on the right side at stick, I can still call up front if the linebackers start cheating over here and they want to line up, head over head here. We can still call an inside zone run up here, and we still have 5 in the box, and we can block that up and have big runs too. So I just feel like just stick has just been great for us. It's easy to teach. The quarterback that I'm going to show a couple of cut-ups, he was a wide receiver last year. He's just now jumping into the quarterback position, and he's starting to understand the concepts, and it's been easy for him to pick up. So, and he doesn't have a rocket arm. I mean, he reads just as well as everybody else. But like I've told him, there's a difference between being a quarterback and being someone who can actually throw a football. So we got kids that can throw the football a mile, but if they're not making good decisions, it's going to be a moot point anyway.
Yeah. Hey, right now, since you took a natural breath, I'm going to sneak this one in. Coach Manny, asking about range. What's the max range do you feel a QB can throw that fly route? If the QB is 5 yards back and the R is 15 yards to the side, 15 yards upfield becomes a 25-yard throw. So have you ever had any issues with that, or what do you think the max range is for that?
Well, for this play, since it's quick game and our outside guy is actually the first person in our progression, what we're doing, he's taking a big step, and he's really only have to throw maybe 25 yards,
right?
Because he's throwing it quick. If he finds that he has the matchup, he's taking one step back, and once they're even, he's just going to throw the ball. So it's never going to be a opportunity where he's getting 30, 40 yards down the field, and then he's throwing the ball there, because our outside receiver is our first person. So he understands outside, inside, and then the check release. Yeah. So that's our progression. So so it won't have to be too far. It's just going to be 20 to 25 yards At most. I mean, and we run this on the goal line too. And I actually have a cut up on that where we just run a little quick fade. And again, it just doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be a long throw. It's just, getting the leverage. And if the corner's inside and we want to throw it to the outside and, we feel like we have a matchup, we're going to take it.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. I mean, it's literally just a rocker step and go. So it's almost like like you said, even if his max was 25 yards, that's all he's really trying to get anyway.
That's all he needs.
Okay, cool. Right on.
Yep. And then the other thing I like to do out of this, sometimes we'll tag a post. So the corners will start backing off a little bit. We throw it deep, even if we don't complete it. All right. Actually, let me do that again. Okay. So now we have this safety. He's coming up. He sees the stick, and now he wants to try to make a play on that stick and try to take that away. We'll just tag a post for the outside guy, and now we'll just run that post behind him, which always results in a touchdown.
Nice. Love it.
So that's it's just an easy tag for us. It's very easy. I think that, like I said, just stick has just been just a compact play. It's easy to teach. It's easy to rep in practice. We'll do this out of 3x1, and then I'll also show you guys the 2x2 real quick. Let's see. So we'll have a tailback here. We'll put the F there. And nothing changes with the reads. It's still outside, inside, check release. And then what happens is, since they're running a 4-2-5, they're probably going to put this extra backer here on the 3x2 side. So this is, to any defense, they're still reading this as a 3x2. There's 3 receivers on this side. There's 2 eligibles on this side. So they're still gonna, sometimes they might maybe try to split the difference here. I've seen that. All right. So again, we're still running an outside release. All right. My Y still running the stick. All right. But now the difference is now my tailback, he's running this flat route here. All right. And I've seen a couple of other guys, some run out a flat and then some do a swing. I like to run a flat because it puts pressure on his linebacker. Now he has to make a decision to either come up and run to the flats with his tailback, or he has to sit back and hold that stick. And again, because we're going on the outside, his eyes are looking naturally inside at the quarterback and tailback. So we're just going to run that out there. And most of the time that linebacker is going to chase that because he has flat responsibilities anyway. The only time that I've really seen, like, teams that if you have a really good tailback and you just like to just get the ball to him in open space and just let him shoot out here, then I can see the swing being a good route, for folks to do that. But just generally for me, I like to put pressure on that linebacker, put him in conflict, make him make a decision quick. And with us running that route right in his face, now he has to make a decision whether he's going to go out or not. Sometimes someone runs a swing out there, the linebacker is not going to chase that until the ball gets thrown out there. So, that just for me, I'm just more of a flat guy than a swing guy.
Yeah, that's one of the questions I ask all these high school guys every time I interview them, because it's so different. I mean, I as a running back, I personally would want to see the field as I catch the ball. So I think I've put that a little bit into my own bias, but I totally understand why you're saying what you're saying, and it's making me want to try it out. I mean, I'm probably not going to get a try till next freaking year, but that's something to think about. Everyone out there, what do you guys do? Swing or shoot? I want to see swing or shoot. Let's take a quick poll. All right, man. So while they do that, you keep rolling. So just Mike Hardwick is asking your progression. So it's outside, R, Y, then T. Yeah.
Correct. Outside, inside, check release. So he's
looking. Is that how you teach it? Outside, inside.
Outside, inside, check release. That's how we teach it. So, and it's going to be like that for most of our plays too. So now it's just an easy progression for our quarterbacks, and now they don't have to worry about, okay, for this play, it is 1, 2, or 3. It's the inside, then it's the outside, and all that stuff. No, for the most part, for most of my plays, is outside, inside, check release. So that gives plenty of opportunities. We're going to take the shot on the outside if we can. then we're going to look inside to the concept, which is the stick. And then at that point, if you don't see it, then we're just hitting the check release, which is the tailback anyway. And, you know, sometimes like, you know, if they overplay the concept side, then we'll still have the gift on the back side. As I mentioned before with all of my quarterbacks, if they're giving us a slant and you see open grass and you know that you could get 5 yards out of that, go ahead and take it. Don't even worry about the concept. And we do that a lot too. So I'll show you a couple cut ups real quick, Coach, as people are probably still putting in. Okay, cool. All right, so this is our 7-on-7 season right now. I know we talked about this last week. This is the quarterback. He's the wide receiver that, you know, turned into a quarterback literally about a month or two ago, full time. So, you know, he's still trying to pick up and grasp the concepts. So stick was one that there'd be times like during 7-on-7, as I mentioned before, I will run the same concept all the way down the field. I don't care if the defense knows it. I just want to make sure that they're executing the play and they're trying to make sure that his eyes are being trained correctly. I'm looking outside, I'm looking inside, and then I'm checking release. So now this video, you'll see it, you know, after a while here. This is where the stick's going to end up at. So for the first play, all right, so we're running the stick. So my F, he's running this out. He probably ran a little too deep. And then I got my Y, he's going to sit down in this open grass, as you can see here. He's settling. He's catching the ball. And he should be getting upfield. And this is one thing we had to get on him is that, and I'm sure a lot of coaches get this, especially during 7-on-7. They're trying to make the spectacular play instead of just catching and getting upfield. And I'll run it real time here. He's catching, he's going sideways, getting upfield. No, catch the ball, get upfield, go vertical as quickly as possible. And that was one of the things that we repped all practice. He was just, you know, just got caught in the game and, you know, try to make the touchdown instead of trying to catch for 7 and getting 9. So that was one of the bigger ones that we just wanted to make sure that we just continue to preach and making sure he understands, catch the ball, get upfield. Trust me, believe me, when you have those pads on, if you catch it to get upfield and we can, you know, turn 5 yards into 7 yards, we're doing great. This is another one that we did. So we ran a stick on the goal line. If you ran on the goal line, and the only thing that we did as far as the change, as we were just talking about, on the outside, it's just a quick little fade. If we feel like we have the matchup, we'll take the fade. If not, then we're just going to run the stick concept as always. So we'll run this through. So F runs it out. The Y sits.
Nice.
Again,
I like how I threw to the opposite shoulder. That's settled loose, baby.
All day. All day. And again, just part of the quick game package. You know, it's just I'm catching and I'm throwing quick. You know, it's easy to protect against because we're not holding up long. And we're going to run this on the right side. Now, the one thing my Y did do in the second game, this was the second game of the day, he caught it, got upfield, and you'll be able to tell how much more yards he ended up getting by just getting upfield as quickly as possible. So he settles, ball thrown to the outside, catch, we're getting straight upfield.
Yeah, again, on a rhythm.
Exactly. And, you know, this is quick game. You know, we're getting 15 yards out of that.
When was this filmed? Just a few months ago?
This was actually filmed in June.
Nice.
Yeah, this literally just happened. And again, as you can see, guys, this linebacker, even when we're not even running the ball, he's still looking at the quarterback. His eyes are inside. That's what they're taught as a zone. They're looking at the quarterback and just kind of seeing where his eyes are. And because he was lined up over the wide, we ran it, I believe, inside of him on this time. But still, if we can get outside of him and he chases us out, we're good. We're just catching, get upfield.
Love it.
So those are the bigger ones that I like to do. Again, just outside, inside, check release. 2x2, I like to run it out of that. We can also run it out of 2 backs in the backfield. I'll delete this, show you guys that.
Good. Yeah. We got some questions coming in, so this will be good.
Cool.
Let's see it out of 2-back.
All right. So again, outside guy running outside release, looking to make that play over top. Then we also have this Y. He's going to settle up inside leg of that linebacker. And then now we're going to shoot this F to the flats here. All right. And then tailback, a couple things we can do. It just depends on what they're doing up front. Generally, I like to keep tailback in, again, just to keep the pocket clean. Protection is the biggest thing for me that I want to stop first. And if I feel like this linebacker starts to shoot, start blitzing gaps, they're trying to create, some havoc and trying to, make something happen. Sometimes we'll just shoot the tailback out this way, but it just depends. It just depends what's going on throughout the course of the game. But most of the time, if we feel like our 5 can protect up front and, we're taking care of business, then I'll shoot that tailback out. If not, then I'll leave him in and just making sure that my quarterback's looking on that concept side first. And most of the time that's all we need, or we're just taking this quick slant.
Yeah, right on. Yeah. So that's perfect. I mean, we run this out of 2-backs. Really, I did have to do it a couple of times just for that extra protection piece. We just kept seeing so many blitzes out of this, but that is perfect. All right, so cool. So let's get into, unless you have anything else you wanted to show, we got some questions that are actually some really great questions.
Okay, fire them away.
Okay, cool. So this, me and David, I swear, we have like this shared brain waves or something. The biggest part that stuck out to me was having that Y go behind the linebacker versus I at least systematically teach it to go in front of him. So that guy, in my mind, has to pick quicker. Like the quarterback can see if he's going to stay with that Y or go with the F. I would think quicker. But so Coach Hunter's question is, do you ever see any impact with the linebacker in your Y as he's going out to cover the flats? I'm assuming, him impacting the Y, trying to go behind him. You ever see anything like that?
Every now and then, yes. But again, what I'm telling my Y is he's going to read leverage. So, even if he's on top and he doesn't feel like he can get outside this guy to sit, it's not required. If the linebacker, if he's playing inside like this, then we want to get behind him. That's ultimately what I want. But if he's playing even just a slight inside shade on that shoulder, then he could go inside. Just whatever you feel like is going to get you a free, clean release and get you to the spot as quickly as possible and settle in that open grass. That's going to be the biggest thing. So ideally, I'd like for him to get behind the linebacker because that's going to give us a few more yards, but it's not required. He can just go inside. It's just based on leverage and where he feels like he can get into the linebacker. And quite honestly, I remember how Mummy, he had a video where he was talking about that, and he was almost talking as if he wanted them to collide, because at that point, then I'm throwing to the F automatic. Yeah, exactly. It's a pick route. It's a pick route, but you're just running your route. So
love it. That's true.
But yeah, that's actually a great question, and I get the one thing I'm starting to see now too is linebackers are starting to just man this, and they'll man the Y, and then what I'll tell him, if you feel like it's man, then he doesn't have to settle. He could just go ahead and slant through there.
Yeah, perfect. All right, cool.
Yep.
Next question. This thing will pop up. All right, Y. Is his inside leg up? Inside. Well, let's start there. Inside leg up or outside leg up?
So for us, his inside leg is up. So for most of my routes, and I know some of the air raid guys, they'll have their inside leg back, especially if it's going to be something that's going to be quick inside, like the mesh, or even something that they're going to push off and get to the outside. But it timed out well for us whenever his outside leg is up. So he's going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then his next foot, his right foot, is going sticking at the top and sitting. So that's that 7 steps for us. And I know I said yards before, but it's mostly 7 steps. But the biggest thing is again, getting behind that linebacker and really eating up this cushion. And then now we could just settle on open grass. And then now we're going to put some conflict between the linebackers and then actually making the safety choose. And then most of the time, a lot of the safety, especially at this level, they're gonna have their eyes inside. They're gonna look at that stick. that ball gets thrown to them a couple of times, especially in front of their face, they're going to start getting a little antsy. They're going to walk up, and then that's when we'll tag that outside receiver on a post to get behind him. So that's what's worked well for us.
Yeah, love it. Yeah, I mean, so that's a good call out though, because I've switched from teaching yards to steps, and I think teaching it with the steps is a way where these kids there's a lot less gray area than yards, right? Like I want to be as specific with these little kids as possible.
Oh,
so
for sure.
I like that you're teaching the steps.
Yeah, and you know what's funny is, Coach, like the one thing I realize is that you tell them to go 10 yards, they never go 10 yards. Mm-hmm. And most of them are going 10 feet anyway, because it was funny. I actually had a kid a few weeks ago. I told him to run. I said, I want you to run a 7-yard plant and then post. And he ran literally 7 steps. And then I asked him, I'm like, wait, how many feet is in a yard? And he couldn't even answer that. So I said, you're not running this far enough. And then at that point, I started realizing more. I was like, the steps are a lot easier for them to understand, because the steps, they already know it. They're not thinking about it in a yards perspective. Some of the fields that we play on don't have lines or don't have the hash marks for lines, so it's hard to count off the yards. Yeah. So the steps has just been a lot easier for us to count those off versus, okay, well, if I'm telling you 15 yards, then that's 45 steps, really. You know what I'm saying? So the steps is easier.
Yeah, keep it simple. All right, next one isn't much of a question, but just an idea. Out of 3x1, the 2 inside guys, number 2 and number 3, basically double. What he says is run trips. We ran double stick with 2 and 3, and then swing the RB to that side. And yeah, I mean, it's almost like a Mike Hardwick, our Flair,
right?
Basically just like a screen, but without the actual blocking, because you could. Yeah, that's pretty.
Maybe something like that.
Yeah, cool. I like that idea, Coach Victor. Come on, put some film on it for us. Bring it on here. We'd love to see it in action.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. All right, cool. What other questions? The rest is just Mike Hardwick blowing up our chat. Cool, man. Well, I really appreciate this, man. I love it. Any other variations that you guys out there want to see, or if you guys have other variations, please put it in the comments below now, or even after this is posted tomorrow on the YouTube channel, so we can continue the conversation about it. But thanks, Coach Fecil. I love this. It's giving me some stuff to think about. 2 things in particular that I really want to really think hard about now that I have a whole nother season to reconsider my whole play.
That's going to give you a lot of time to think now, Coach. I'm telling you, man.
Oh, man. So cool, man. I really appreciate it. If you guys want to see more from Coach Fecil, as always, go to his Game Ready Football YouTube channel. He's got all kinds of great quick game, drop back game stuff on there. And honestly, Coach Fecil will, if you email him, I know for a fact he gets back to you guys quickly. So
sure.
Awesome. Well, good. Well, with that, guys, I want to bring in Coach Knutson. AJ Knutson is a gun flexbone, and I know he has a specific term for it, but I wanted to use that as simply as possibly because I wanted to frame it for you guys. I'm excited about it. Let me welcome Coach AJ in. Hey, Coach, how's it going?
Hey, guys, how's it going? Good.
Good, man. Thanks for joining us.
Camera, yeah.
Yeah, you are good to go. All right, perfect. Well, thanks for joining us. We got a bunch of coaches on the line from all over the country. They're excited to hear about all right, I'm going to put Fecil back up. They're excited to hear about your flexbone plays and just in general how you run what you do. So first, let me just ask you to introduce yourself, just in case anyone hasn't met you out there in our little social media world.
What was that?
I said I just wanted to let you introduce yourself in case someone doesn't know what you're all about.
Sure. I'm Coach AJ Knutson. I've coached in Minnesota and grew up here. And then I've also coached out in California for the last few years. So I've been coaching high school football for 13 years. So
nice.
Where in California?
I was up in Modesto for a year and at Mountain House. So for the last few years. So
nice, very cool. Yeah, I'm pretty close to you, man. My brother lives in Tracy actually, and I'm just about 20.
Yep.
Yeah, it's awesome, cool. And more last chance, you name drops there. That one of the teams that were playing, that Modesto team. Just location wise, so you guys kind of frame it. It's all up here in NorCal, so very cool. Awesome, man. Well, good. So AJ, I'm going to let you take the floor. I have a info night for my youth organization at 6:30. So I want to give you as much time as possible to go through the top 3 Flexbone gun plays that you think you would recommend these guys adding. I told you a little bit of background. We're spread guys, we're air raid guys for the most part, and we really only carry 3 run plays. So we're always looking for ideas. We're always looking for ideas of what's a great run play that I can implement. So I'll let you go ahead and just take it away, but I'm going to blow up the screen for you a little bit. There we go.
We call it gun spread option football is what we call it. The first play is midline that we run, and it's a simple read for the quarterback. We always had to start by identifying the 1. So the count starts on or outside the guard. And so this would be the guy you're reading right here. So you're blocking back here. These splits, we tell these guys to widen until this defender stops moving. Then you stop. So big splits, blocking back. Now this guy, if your guard can do it, all he is diving across or stepping it and getting at that backer there. And then for midline, the rule is the kick out to 2. And so your dive back will run straight up that center's butt, and your quarterback's just pulling and replacing, just like that. Your Y would block here. Now we tell our wide receivers, if it's zone, if they're looking inside, then we block. If he's looking at you, we know it's man, and you're trying to run him off. And when you try to run him off, see if you can get by him, and then we can throw a play action pass deep off of just a little play action and see if we can hit those guys. Those guys report back to us. So this is midline against an even front. I will.
So midline, before we became a spread team, midline was a big part of our offense, being a part of the triple option De La Salle world. That play is nasty. I mean, that is honestly, I've heard that referred to, and it's in every spread playbook, by the way. Cam Newton made a living at Auburn running that spread midline play, and the way you had it drawn up, where you leave that D tackle alone, and you're reading an interior D tackle. I know you coached youth along your journey as well, right, AJ?
Yeah, ninth grade, but I was D coordinator for ninth grade. So
okay, cool. Were you guys running this offense, a similar offense during that period of time?
No, we were under center, split back veer.
Okay. Oh, no, that's even closer to what I was talking. Interesting.
Yeah.
So from a youth perspective, we run midline. We've always run midline, and we still ran it last year. That was our one inside run. What do you think? You think a middle school kid? You think a middle school quarterback can always can read that D tackle to pull the option, or what do you think? You think that's a high school thing, or I'm curious of what your opinion of it is, how hard it is to read, essentially.
We've been running in 7th grade, we ran split back veer under center from 7th grade all the way to 12th grade, and so it's just repetition on the working on your reads.
Yeah. Okay.
The nice thing, like on a gun, like for odd fronts, I'll show you here, is again you're just going to do your count 1 and your 2. So you're reading 1, kicking out 2. So then you're here and here. But now this is something we picked up from Tony the Mayo. Is this guy's still going to run right at that center, but now he's going to read that center's block, so he can cut play side or he can cut backside. And it's actually way up there. But so with that, these guys, these backers, when you're down their center, Flexbone, because we ran that for a while, as soon as this quarterback opened and you had your fullback here, this backer would fly right over the top. And so now this way, these guys have to defend this true. Now they can't just fly play side because that running back can cut back. And actually, when we put it in and installed it, we were probably hitting this 80% of the time. We're hitting the cutback more than running it play side. Now this obviously this is unblocked here. So pre-snap, we like to run the bubble screen. So if this guy's not out here, if he's actually in the box, then we will throw the screen. But if he's out here, then we won't have to worry about him. So depending on where he lines up, depends on if we're going to run the player, just throw that little bubble. And then again, he's here. He's here, he's there. And then if those guys would run that pre-snap, run your RPO pre-snap on the backside of that.
So, Coach, let me ask you a question. On this one, how is the quarterback deciding? Who's he reading to decide if he hands it or keeps it?
The 4 technique right here.
Oh, so he's not – okay, good. So he's not being blocked. You're leaving him uncovered,
yep,
and that's the read.
Yep, exactly. Yep, your run's your read guy.
Okay, so let me back it up for everyone. I'm sorry. Coach Jolly just asked, and it makes me realize that not everyone came from a triple option offense like I did. So back up. Let's back up a little bit. So midline, everyone, is essentially and Coach Knutson, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the original midline was literally they're talking about the midline of the center's ass, and that running back is aiming to go right up the crack of his butt, the midline of his crack, and basically you're leaving an interior D tackle on one side or another. I can't remember what technique. It looks like the one technique, and he's going to be if he attacks the dive back, the quarterback pulls it and then replaces him where he is basically. And if he doesn't, if he stays put, then he's gonna give. Is that a good way to? Is that a close enough synopsis, AJ? Is it me or am I frozen?
No, I think he's frozen. There we go.
He's back. Okay, cool. Sorry, I didn't catch. I don't know if you heard my question. Was that a good explanation of how how they're reading midline?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
You're just reading the first unblocked defender, head up or outside the guard. So.
Perfect. Okay, that's a great way to. Okay, so sorry, I should have started with that. That's my fault.
Oh. Now
all
I'm
right,
going
cool.
to jump into 2 triple option plays.
Is midline the first play you install? I mean, is that literally where you start? I mean, it's like day one.
Yep, start there.
Kind of work your way out.
Exactly. These all kind of go hand in hand together. These will actually be now. Why I have a numbering system will make sense here because it doesn't matter where these defenders line up. Defender there. So now with inside veer, it'll be like it's so nice with inside veer. These are it's exactly the same, but inside veer tells us that we're leaving the 1 and the 2 alone. So we're gonna load this guy, make sure we have this backer to here. That's his track. He's blocking here. Same there. He'll block there, and then the same there. Or sorry, he'll be your pitch back. So here you're going to motion behind the quarterback for pitch. And then again, he's the same run lane. And now that quarterback's going to work towards the line of scrimmage. Now here, number 1's your dive key, and you're pitching off number 2. And that's inside veer. Inside veer versus an even front.
And I love that. And one of the things that these De La Salle coaches have drilled into my mind, just like he's showing the quarterback, he's not showing the quarterback going sideways, guys. He's actually working. And for us, the guy was under center, and we still, the arrows we would draw would be upfield, right? Like you have to get some push up there.
Yep, work down the line of scrimmage. That's what he's told. Work towards the line of scrimmage.
Love it. I love it. Okay. And it's the same reads that you leave in that one technique alone, and that's going to tell you to dive or not, or to keep.
Exactly. One thing I should say, since I have this up now, I got 2 if and thens for both. This goes for both midline and inside veer with this. If your number 1 lines up in the A gap, then we run outside veer. And if your number 2 defender lines up in the B gap, then we run speed option. That's the 2 if and thens that are built in.
So love it.
You can't run the play with the guys in the gap. So that's
interesting.
That's the automatic if and thens that we have built in. And so
Gotcha.
we don't even know, the kids just automatically know that if he's lined up here, that's the play we run. So
cool. I love that. I love to give the kids the freedom. And do they make that call on the line by themselves, or is that something you guys are yelling from the sideline, or a mixture of both? Or
basically, if they see that, they don't really have to say anything. But if they do need an audible, and some kids don't know, because really when we get up here, our center calls out poison. So right now,
got it.
He was lining up here, he would just point to this guy and be like, poison, poison, poison. And these guys know they got to block these 2 guys. So we just have a poison call that our center calls out, so the kids know who not to block.
Got it. No, that makes sense. And
now this is my favorite play out of this. Again, this will be out of a. Now you can leave all 7 guys in the box. That's fine with us. Because when you're running this now here, again, here's your count. Here's your 1. Here's your 2. So here's your dive. Here's your pitch. And we're going to block back a full man. We're going to have a true double team at the point of attack to this backer. And then this tackle gets down on this linebacker. Again, so he's still got the option, the same path. He's going to run at that center's butt, make his cut, play side or backside. Again, motion the W behind for pitch. And there's nobody left. So this is what it'd look like again. So you got 7 in the box on 5, and we have the numbers. So
yeah,
and the angles on the blocks. I mean, this is probably the best play there is.
So how is that different than inside veer?
This is inside veer.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought you said it. I thought you said you were going to outside veer. Okay,
no.
Sorry. I got it.
That's
just out of a different look. I got you. Okay, sorry.
Yeah. And then the other thing too is, if you don't want to motion this guy, then just line him up, and we just call this, for us, it's flex, and you can just have a motion right. You can just have him run the pitch route right next to your quarterback too, if you want to do it that way, either or.
Right.
We noticed some teams, when we did this, they'll roll their coverage, so we don't really gain the advantage, or they blake the blitz off the backside of that. So if we get a lot of that, then we'll just line right up in it. Then they don't do that. So
yeah.
Another adjustment you can do based on
Love it. So back to your split back veer roots a little bit. Awesome.
Exactly. Yep.
Very cool.
But the nice thing is out of gun, you get that cutback. Under center don't have that cutback. So the backside guys don't really do anything. I mean, we are always taught backside under center, which, the tackle and tight end went and blocked safeties. So now you hold these backers at bay. So, and then like I said, if this guy blitzes, then he's just going to step down really hard and just plant him. So,
love it. So what I'm curious, and I want to see outside veer. We're getting questions all over this. They want to see outside veer as well. But just in general, you brought it up, running it up from under center, which is the traditional way, obviously, to what you've done and kind of created this in a spread gun version. Advantages. I mean, it sounds like that's one of them, right? Being able to, your backs have a little bit more options when they get the ball. Any other advantages that you?
The big advantage is when you formations. We literally have on our offense, we have 50 formations. Now you're running under center, and you have to have a die back and a pitch back. You're very limited on your formations. So that's why we tried it on pistol. Pistol, we tried that for a season. It didn't work that well. It was too slow, and it limited our formations and it limited our emotions because we have 8 option plays and 12 run plays. So so part of the package is really hard to stop once you have it all on paper. When you run it, 12 run plays, and then we use on average 14 different formations. So you can really use formations on a gun to your advantage. And plus, they have to play the pass.
Right.
Blow the box here because, like I said, if they want to move guys over, then you just throw your little quick screens, your easy high completion passes. So.
Absolutely. And then one question just came in, that S back, your tailback, is he really that close? I mean, what is the alignment? Do you guys do like 1-on-1 there?
So with our quarterback, we are at 3.5 to 5 based on how fast our S is, and our S is usually 1 foot by 1 foot from that quarterback.
He's tight. I like it.
He's hugging them pretty tight, because we want to hit north and south, A gap, bam, fast.
Totally.
So.
Yeah. I went to University of Nevada, and I played before they installed the pistol, but I mean they ran a lot of this with Kaepernick during that time period. They don't do as much of that anymore. They're back to air raid, but yeah, these plays just explode. I mean, when these are explosive plays, guys. You guys out there, inside veer, it's not a sexy play, but it explodes. Like when that hits. It pops, and it pops quite a bit more than you would think. So I love this. Okay, cool. Before we run too much out of time, will you go to outside veer? I want to make sure we get that on tape. Go ahead, Fecil. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. Hey, Coach, as you're doing that for that W, you mentioned that sometimes you'll do a bubble out there. Do you call that play, or is that just a read by the quarterback, and if he sees it, he throws it, or you're calling the bubble specifically?
Oh, it's pre-snap. If they're not defending it, then we're gonna throw it.
Yep.
And he run that every single time because he doesn't know if that quarterback's gonna throw it. Unless he really this guy's gonna do. So he has to run it every time. But it's only a midline against that hang defender that we can't account for.
Makes sense. I mean that fits in really well with our philosophy. We're taking. Just like you, sounds like we're taking. If people are going to give us free yards, we're going to take it all day.
All day.
All right, Coach Jolly. So the thing that's counterintuitive with triple option football, Coach Jolly, AJ, we just got to call in. You probably heard this question a million times from coaches like us that don't run this as a vocation, but like the question is how do. If we just leave those defenders alone, how do they not just blow up the play every time? And number one, let me just start with the youth football answer. Things aren't as spread out in youth football as they are in high school or those above levels where, like, a 4-man front truly is spread out to where you can isolate people. But AJ, what's your answer to that? I'm sure you've answered that question a trillion times.
It's splits. They're not. I can't draw the splits on the board, but I can show you. I have a picture of our splits, but these splits are not 2 feet split. They're not 3 foot splits. They're literally 5 foot splits.
Baby.
I'll go over it again. We tell this guy, especially backside, his job is to walk from this center and keep walking until this defender stops. So
wow.
Let him hash the hash marks on both. I've had tackle on the hash marks.
I love it.
So this
I love to see that on tape.
it might be this box here might already be 10 yards wide if these guys will walk with them. And especially in middle school and high school, if this kid's told to line head up on this guy, then he'll line up head up on that guy. I mean that's what he's to do. So that's what he does.
I'm trying that out because we push an air raid. We push for 3-foot splits, and that's like it's like we're speaking alien language when we say that to people. And you're even taking it further, and I love that. And in a running offense, that makes my heart happy. So that's cool, man. That's great. I'm gonna try to use that. Just keep walking. Just see if they keep following you. Whatever.
Yeah. Against Central Catholic, it took them a whole entire half. I literally told my running back, I said, I want these splits big because if we don't get these guys blocked, at least we have a run lane. So I had my running back laying between the guys, and I'm like, yeah, that's how far I want. My running back was almost 6 foot, so I'm like, we had 6 foot splits for the whole first half of the game until they figured out that they had to put the guys in the gap, and we went back to our normal splits. So
that's hilarious, man. Awesome. Okay, get after this. I'm eating up all your time, and I've only got like 12 minutes left.
Outside here. So now we're gonna block the 1, read the 2, pitch off 3. The only person needs to know that we're pitching off 3 is the quarterback. I don't teach my line that. So we're gonna block 1. If he needs help, you can double it to the backer. Center's just gonna cut him off there. These guys, we're not spending these guys downfield. I don't like that. This is kind of time for them to kind of take a play off and just get in that guy's way. And then again, we're gonna motion back, and then he's gonna come up here. He's actually gonna bring up the safety in here and play side. We do want to cut the splits now on this a little bit so that right now, and he's gonna cut right off there, just like that. And so,
what's his aiming point? Sorry, Coach. What's his aiming point? That running back.
Right off that guard's right butt cheek.
Right butt cheek. Love it. Okay.
Well, I mean, like I said, play side, but the outside butt cheek, I should say.
Right.
We really do want this defender coming down, smoking that. He usually does, and then the quarterback's off, and you got one guy to try to take on 2 guys. So it's a great play.
I love it.
Everything else, because once midline, you've been kicking this guy. Inside here, you've been leaving this guy, so he's been coming down, and then this guy too with inside here, he's been coming down and taught to take dives, so it makes this guy's block even easier. So when you run all 3 of these plays together, these guys really are just their heads are spinning.
Yep, totally. And so, not to get too far ahead of ourselves, because I have questions about outside veer, but I'm assuming speed option is very similar, except what the S is the back is the pitch back and the W stays home, or
exactly. Yep.
Okay.
Take this guy out, and yes, that's our speed option. We block it just like inside veer, just like outside veer. Exact same blocking. Now we're just gonna read this guy, and we're just gonna block that guy right there, and we're just gonna leave him.
Guys, these two plays, I think, and I when I first found air raid, I was dead set on combining triple option and air raid. These 2 plays, outside veer and speed option, I think can complement it very well. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's absolutely right. The only thing would change is if this guy would be in the gap. If they played gaps, then we're just gonna cut this guy down. The Y's gonna come in, and we're just gonna have this a wall here, and then we're gonna pitch off this guy. If for some reason these guys are playing gaps, which I mean that's an easy call. I mean if the guy where we're getting killed on the inside, these guys could switch down to the gap, and we're just gonna get outside all that. So
yeah,
awesome. That would be a pretty run speed option. Now outside here, I'll get outside veer against odd front because you don't have outside veer against an odd front unless I'll get it drawn up here real quick.
No worries. Love it. I love the triple option world. It's fun, man. It's not our bread and butter in this group, but I think it's a vital part of football history and run at the right time. I mean, you see speed option in the pros, and with these mobile quarterbacks nowadays, you start seeing a lot of outside veer in the pros even with all these mobile guys. So it's fun to take pieces of different offenses and see how they can all fit together, if they can all fit together.
So even if you cut the splits on outside veer, put that up there, outside veer. We did run it up in Modesto when I was up there up at Surrey's. We did run it because our running back he ran a 4.37 40, so he was really fast. But typically we don't like to run it against a 4 technique. So if these guys come down into 3 techniques like that, which we see because guys want to load this box and try to take away midline and inside veer and all the running we've been doing inside, then we can run it. So then we can go like that. So you block the 1, leave the 2, and actually there really isn't a 3 because he's being blocked. But we don't change anything because we don't know how the defense is going to line up. So he still motions like he would, and then we're still going to kid off the double team, tight off that right butt cheek, and still work down the 1. So it's not great against the 4 technique. They would have to be in a 3 technique, or else we would just. So if we had outside veer called and they were lined up in the 4, it automatically changed to inside veer. It's one of those if and thens and an auto call that we have. And then it does change a little bit backside. It's not a big deal, but you would want to. We do scoop that 3 technique on the backside. So
Amazing.
That's how you'd have to do it against an odd front. Basically, your personnel, you can do it against a 4, but it's not a great running angle. So it's something that we've learned and that we've changed and adjusted to.
Yeah, no, this is great. I'm stealing this one because this was our bread and butter. As 8-year-old, we won a title with split back veer, but outside veer, this is exactly the play. And this is the one I want to get into our playbook. So thank you, Coach. You guys, if you have any questions, we're gonna be on this show for about 6 more minutes. I apologize. I kept talking too long during Coach Fecil's clinic, and I didn't leave AJ enough time. So if you guys have questions, throw them in the chat now or call in. Otherwise, I want to get AJ back on for sure. I want to give him more time. He has, as you guys heard, little different philosophy than us. He's got 12 option. What'd you say, Coach? 12 option plays and 8
and 12 run. Because
exactly.
We don't option or we do have option office. We have 2 options off a sweep, and then we run this straight sweep. So
yeah, exactly. So you guys, he has plenty more to share. I asked him to come in and do his top 3, which, yeah, I mean, guys, those Oregon Duck years when they were just flying around, they were running triple option out of the gun. And look, there's a lot of similarities to what Coach is showing you here in those high flying Duck years. So yeah, throw in any questions if you have them now. Coach AJ, I put in the email for this show his YouTube channel and his Facebook group. He has a Facebook group as well. So guys, please take a moment right now to go subscribe to his YouTube channel as well as the Facebook group. Join that. I'm going to drop them in the summary below. Let me get us all back on here. I'm going to drop it on the summary below after this call, so you could just go down there and click into it so you can follow him and all that good stuff. But I'd love to have AJ back on to kind of go into a few more of them. AJ, do you have anything else you wanted to say as we wait for questions to come in?
No, just thank you for having me on here. And I do have every single option play that we run against every single defense on my YouTube. I think I have like 50 videos, and I've been starting to work on, because I was the old line coach, and I've been for like 13 years. I was the old line coach for 6 of them. So I'm trying to get all my old line run stuff up there too, and all my drills and all my stuff like that I've learned over the years.
Yeah, that's amazing. And this group in particular eats up drill film. I don't know if do you have any like game film that cut ups or anything that you could bring on, or do you have any access to that kind of stuff?
I do not right at the moment until the season starts. All I have is one highlight film on YouTube that you can go watch. Okay.
Yeah, no worries. But yeah, the drill stuff is so important for us youth coaches because just like air raid, we're just trying to educate coaches that, most of us, we only played to a certain level and we just know what we know. We're just trying to give some true new education to any youth coach that wants to try their hand at whether it's air raid or Flexbone. or out of the gun. So we appreciate you coming on, man. I think it's great, and we'll make sure everyone goes and joins you. But I'm going to reach back out to you, AJ, to get you back on so we can go a little deeper. I apologize we didn't have as much time as I would have hoped.
No problem, because I don't really have. I'm limited on space, and so one separately.
No, it's perfect. This is exactly how I would have wanted to teach it, one by one, and so everyone can now, take screenshots. I just took a screenshot actually of that outside veer. Hey, Coach Jason, you back in the house?
The mic's working now.
Hey, there you go. All right, cool. Just in time to say goodbye.
Yeah, I know, right? I had to wait to the end.
All right. Well, cool. Well, thank
you guys. You guys did great.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, Coach Manny wants to see more speed option. AJ, I know we just touched on that real quick. But yeah, I think speed option could be something you could probably break down for 20 minutes all by itself. So we'll definitely get you back on, and we'll get into a little bit deeper. You guys, let's go around the horn. Coach Fecil, anything before we depart?
No, that was actually great, Coach. I actually like watching the inside veer stuff. I ran that in high school, so it kind of took me back.
There you go. Coach Jason, you guys is the hurricane past you, or are you guys,
no,
getting into the storm shelter?
I'm about 100 miles north of Myrtle Beach, and it's about ready to make landfall at Myrtle Beach. So we're going to be going through the night. It's supposed to be going basically right over top of us. So let's see.
Okay.
Be safe out there, Coach.
Thank you.
Be safe for sure. Coach AJ, anything on the way out the door?
No, if you want to take a screenshot of this.
Yes, sir.
It starts on guard. The count starts outside of center, outside of center. So nice. There's rules. I don't label defenders because I don't care what position plays in front of them. I just need them to know this.
Right. Perfect. Perfect. I love that way of teaching, right? Like, let's just make them, as long as they can understand it, let's go run. Yeah. All right, cool. Well, thank you guys. I apologize for having to run at a certain time tonight, but we'll be back next week with a couple more clinics. We're going to try to do clinics and keep this educational. We'll have some time to talk some crap and maybe make some bets on Tyson versus Roy Jones in the coming week.
When is the actual fight, Coach? When is that date?
Would you say, Felice?
I know it's in September.
Yeah, fall. Yeah, September-ish, something like that.
Do you know where they're fighting that at? Is it in the United States or is it?
I don't know. Is Tyson still banned from boxing in Vegas?
Good question. No, it's going to be in LA, September 12th.
LA?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, nice. I might have to drive down there for that one.
Yeah.
All right. No, they got too much COVID down there. Fuck that.
Yeah.
All right, cool, guys. Thank you guys for watching out there. Thanks for all the great questions and participation. Go find AJ's stuff online. It's going to be in the description. Go connect with Fecil online. Coach Ross, his channel is about to come out, so we'll start promoting that soon. And as always, thank you guys for joining us. Let's continue to teach the air raid or the spread, get the ball passing around. We want to get these participation numbers back up. That's always been the goal. And we'll talk to you guys next time. All right. See you guys.
All right, Coach.
All right, thanks, coaches. Have a good night.
See you.
Have a good one.